Please tell us about yourself. Where are you from originally? Where are you working and living now? And what does your position involve?
Thank you very much, Sarah. I would like to thank you for this opportunity to talk about myself, my career, especially after I received the grant from TIRF. I'm from Turkey, and up until 2022, on January 2022, I was working in Turkey as well. I worked in three different higher education institutions in Turkey. And since the beginning of 2022, I've been working at the University of Southampton in the Department of Languages, Cultures, and Linguistics. I'm a senior teaching fellow and leading three MA programs, including TESOL studies, applied linguistics, and English language teaching.
Oh, wow. So where did you complete your doctorate and in what year did you finish?
I completed my PhD studies in Turkey at Çanakkale 18 Mart University in 2017.
And in practical terms, how does your doctoral research make a difference in today's society?
So my doctoral research was centered on language assessment, language performance assessment. I was interested in the impact of raters' experience and the text quality in the variability of scores assigned to students' written assignments. Theoretically, I was able to implement complicated research methods in my study, including the quantitative approach called generalizability theory, uh, which was not commonly used in assessment research back then. I mean, it was not new, but it was not very common. That's something I learned in my research, and then I continued to using this method in other studies, and currently conducting research using this framework as well. And also I collected data using think aloud protocols, which enabled me to investigate raters cognitive processes while they are marking essays, student essays. And based on my research, I was able to develop some rater training programs that I implemented institutionally. And it helped a lot. It helped my colleagues a lot in terms of being fair and enhanced how can I say, the consistency between markers in terms of the feedback they provide to students and in terms of their marks. Um, there was not a sound parity between the markers, but like my research enabled the raters, my colleagues primarily in my institution and also other institutions to provide strategy-based training to the teachers at schools for sound assessment in writing. And I know that the rubric I developed in my research has been in use in my previous institution for several years, and also used by other colleagues at different institutions as well. So I believe that I have contributed theoretically to the field and also created an impact on establishing a reliable assessment environment with the marking tool I developed, and with the training model I proposed in my research.
That's fantastic. So what did receiving the TIRF DDG mean to you?
To be honest, up until I received the award, I was not aware the importance and significance of this award. I applied to the grant like on the last day back then in 2000. can't remember, 16. I think it was 2016. And then when I received the news, I was in the States.
Right.
Just came, yeah, just came from a fun day at Six Flags. And then I received the email, and then it was like, I was awarded the grant, and also and it was chosen as a, like, top ranked proposal. I was very honored to receive the grant, and then the grant provided me access to conferences, international conferences, financially, where I disseminated my research with experts, with researchers that I cited in my work. For example, I went to Thailand, Bangkok, to attend second language writing conference in 2017, and also using the funding that I received from TIRF, I was able to attend AAAL in Atlanta, Georgia in 2019, where I like connected with researchers in the field of language assessment, met language assessment related journal editors. And then following that, I was able to like publish my research, an article from my dissertation in language testing journal.
Wow. So it made quite the difference from what it sounds like.
Definitely, definitely.
What advice would you give to people who want to engage in research in our field?
Um, that's a really good question. So, looking back at my journey as a doctoral researcher and the process, like after I completed my dissertation, um, like, I definitely want to like give some advice to researchers regarding what they can do um, to complete their dissertation successfully in the time frame dedicated to that particular work. First of all, I know this is not the same everywhere around the world, but in Turkey, I was working full time as an ELT instructor at a university, and also I was a full-time administrator at the language school of my university, and I was trying to my PhD. And then most of the work around my PhD was kind of work that I did, like, during nighttime. So it was really tough. So what I can say to researchers is that they should have a clear time frame. They should have clear goals, clear research aims, and then these research aims, these clear goals should inform the kind of training, the kind of support they need in writing their dissertations. For example, I was very ambitious, like, trying to implement complicated methods in my research, including generalizable theory or conducting think aloud protocols with my supervisors. But clearly, during the process, I realized that I should have received more support, more training on methodologically to support this process. And what I can advise to new researchers, and this is the piece of advice I give to my PhD students as well. They should be realistic about their goals, and they should self-reflect on what they know and how they can improve their current skills in line with their research to have a smoother process, to have a like comfortable time, comfortable um, zone in completing their dissertations.
And would that advice change at all for inexperienced researchers versus those who have more prior experience?
Um, I think researchers with more experience, with prior experience, should can reflect on their experience, and then, like, can devise their own strategies to make the process easy, manageable for themselves. but still, like every research project, every research process bring about their own unique challenges. And this critical process, reflective process should be an ongoing part of researchers' journey. So whenever we intend to implement a research project, whenever we want to conduct a research, like the topic doesn't matter. Like, we should be critical of what we want to do, and we should be aware of our capacity, our skills to implement the project in hand.
And what advice would you give to someone wanting to apply for a DDG grant?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, one of the things I learned in this process is that people should not underestimate their skills, underestimate where they're coming from, where they belong to. So, as I said initially, I was not aware of like the extent, the significance of this grant. So later on, I realized that it was a big deal. Like TIRF grant is a very prestigious grant. It's still a prestigious grant. But like, while I was applying for the grant, as somebody coming from Turkey, somebody doing my PhD at an institution in Turkey, I was not very confident. Um, like, in my project, I didn't know that, like, I was not sure that I would definitely, like, get this grant. And later on, when I heard the news, good news from TIRF, I was like, yeah, I can do it. And like, and that process taught me that, like, the DDG grant assessment process is a very fair process, and it considers diversity, equity across the applicants. The priority is given to the quality of work that people are putting effort into. And so, like, as I said, regardless of their background, regardless of their institution, regardless of their university, what type of work they are doing, they should definitely consider applying for this grant. And because it's like, the winning this grant marks a really important milestone for my career. As I said, I was able to attend two important international conferences where I networked with people in my field, outside my field, and having this grant on my CV has been really important, because like it, like, changed the way people look at your career. Like, having this grant on your CV, like, creates an impact on your career. And my journey, like, starting as a teaching fellow, as a senior teaching fellow at the University of Southampton, um, is also a similar process. And I also know that, like, winning this grant and publishing in good journals from my dissertation contributed to the employment process at Southampton as well. So like one door opens another, we can say. So the TIRF door, this grant opened many opportunities for me in my career, and it boosted my confidence. And it provided me opportunities like to engage with researchers in the field, and to prove my ability, prove my capacity as a researcher in my field.
That is amazing. And what would you say to someone who is considering donating to TIRF?
So so TIRF is an organization supporting new researchers, young researchers to develop their research plans, to realize their research ideas. And then like funding TIRF means like, funding great ideas, great minds across the world. And having like bringing researchers, bringing brilliant minds from different backgrounds across the world creates a really, really huge impact on English language teaching.
Well, thank you
And
very
because,
much.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I would like to thank you to TIRF supporters.
All right. Well, that was all the questions that I had, but thank you so much for your time. I thoroughly appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and to give us your experience about working with TIRF.